Hi, Stephen from Owner Disown. So I have just purchased this Dell G3. Now you may have watched my Dell G7. If not, click up here and you can watch the full review on that. And by popular demand, I wanted to have a look at this G3. So I actually got this from Micro Center. So let's take a look at its specs and how it compares to the configurations available on Dell. So on Micro Center, they've got a great deal. Book price is $950. And it comes down by $150 to make it $800. Now this is a special configuration, I believe, because it doesn't seem to be available on a Dell website. But you know what? For a gamer, I think it's ideal. It's got the i5-8300H, which is a quad-core CPU with hyper-threading. So that's 8 threads, 2.3 gigahertz base, turbo boosting up to 4. And from my understanding, this processor maintains quite a high turbo boost, so it's ideal for gamers. Now, it does come with 8 gigabytes of DDR4, 2666 megahertz of RAM. I'm not sure whether it's one stick or two sticks, but I suppose to cut costs here, it does have the 1 terabyte, 5,400 RPM hard drive with 8 gigabyte of cache. So it'll be interesting to see, how speedy that is. And if you compare this, of course, it's got the GTX 1060 in as well, which, for this price, it's a steal. So if we compare to what is available on a Dell website, it somewhere falls in between these two configurations. This one here for their $800 only has a 1050 Ti, but it has the same situation here with the hard drive. But the next configuration up here, with a coupon code of 100 off, making it $950. Has the 1060 Max Q and has a smaller, SSD, which to be honest, I find 128 gigabytes, makes no sense to me. Of course, this has the 6-core CPU, so you do pay a little bit extra for that, of course. Now, of course, the G3 is available in 3 different colors. You've got the black, which I believe is what I've got from Micro Center. You've got the Recon Blue, which some people have said that they find it hard to see the blue backlight keys on the blue one. And of course the Alpine White, which I reviewed on the G7, and I really did like that colour. It did look nice and fresh, so that's nice. Now it can be expanded to 32 gigabytes of RAM because there are actually 2 slots. Mine of course comes with 8 gigs, and I will open it up and see what I've got inside for sure. So once you take a look, it is a full plastic build, of course. Much like the G7 was, but the styling is certainly a little bit different. Now you do have the G3 stenciled up here at the top, which is quite nice, and that's what it's like inside. So we have the blue accent like we had on the G7, and the keyboard will be backlit blue as well, and the screen, it's not super stiff, but it's it's not super flexible either. Can you open it up with one hand? So the hinges are stiff, which is fine, nice, but you can't quite open it with one hand. But it's got a good subtle look to it. I do like that. If you actually in a workplace or a student and you don't want to say, hey, I'm a gamer, it does blend in nicely. And we have some venting inside here. With you can see the 2 fans here. Some nice. But I don't seem that high, this thick, with the long rubber strip feet. It's thicker at the back of the rubber feet, so it'll be more inclined to allow more airflow through there, which is nice. On the G7, of course, you just had if I recall, the 1 screw here to take it off. Here you've got quite a few more screws to take the back panel off. So, of course, it was. I didn't want to look at the G5 particularly. I know some people wanted it, but it's very similar to my 7567 or the 7577, the same chassis basically. And you'll see that it is slightly shallower, which is nice, and it's also thinner too. So let's take a look at that. So comparing it to my 7567, you can see it is substantially thinner. It is nice. And of course you can see the the air venting there at the back, and comparing it to here, yeah, you can definitely see how much sleeker it is. I do like that. So we do have the SD card reader. We have a USB 2, the Noble lock. We have the power connector. We actually have a Thunderbolt port on this one. Look at that. That is good. HDMI, Ethernet, and 2 super speed USB ports there, USB 3 ports, and a combo headphone microphone jack. So comparing the G7 and the G3, we look at the right hand side. So the G7's up at the top, and we have the headphone mic jack and 2 USB 3 ports, the Thunderbolt port and the HDMI, whilst the G3 at the bottom is much more sparse. We just have the SD card reader and the USB 2 port and the Noble lock. As you can see, most of the ports on the G3 are actually on the left hand side, which is actually quite a good thing. If you're a right-hander, you know the cables aren't going to be getting in the way of your mouse. Comparing the front of the G7 and the G3, you can see that G7 has the air intake grills at the front, whilst the G3 has nothing. And looking at the back, the G7 has the large intake air grills, whilst the G3 is a much more subtle approach. And we'll look at the weight there. We've got £5 7 ounces, about that, close enough. So £5 7 ounces. That's pretty sweet. You'll also notice we get the same 180 watt power brick, and it's, you know, it's fairly small, you know, so it actually makes for quite a lightweight package. Speakers are front firing, but at the bottom, you know, at the bottom here, there's the 2 speakers here, and they typically do have a good sound, so I'm looking forward to hearing that. And I think for $800, this is one fine machine. You know, I think for a GTX 1060, 8-thread CPU, you know, you can't beat it. And it also has that Thunderbolt port. Tell you, thumbs up. So anyway, put in the comments below what you'd like me to test. I will be comparing it in benchmarks to my G7, of course, and as well as some of the other, you know, i7 8750H CPUs, just to see how much you are giving away in terms of performance. But I think this, you know, quad-core CPU is going to be fine for us gamers. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.